understand, it's all about how to complete the project. So, how to select the type of contract, and how to select the type of tendering, and how to select the type of procurement. All about how to achieve our deliverable. So, these procurements, the words, after, I think it will go for a 3 or 4 lecture series. So, at the end of the lecture, we will understand there are something to be developed when come to the theory concept. So we will go ahead with the theory first, then we will understand the practicality. So now we should understand what are the procurement strategies and how to select the suitable procurement route. So what are the criteria we have to consider, and the asset procurement routes. So we should understand what type of procurement routes are best for to do. Okay. So before we go ahead into the procurement strategies, you should understand that this is all about how to get the project done. Okay, how to get the project done. Now let's assume you want to travel from one city to another city. Simple example. Okay, you want to travel from one city to another city. Okay, what are the option you have? Now let's say option wise vehicle wise option. Okay, what are the option you have? Anyone? You can go by car. Yes, very good. A train, very good. Airplane, very good. So this is all about the vehicle, right? Even maybe if there's any port between the two city, we can use the ship. Okay. So now you understood there's option. Now when come to the car, now it could be your own personal car or taxi. So there are also some subdivision. But whatever the things, okay, whatever the vehicle, whatever the option you are considering, is it going to change your destination? What do you think? Or it is not going to change. So the procurements also, the strategies that you are going to understand, maybe sometimes some strategy better than the other one. But end of the day, your goal or your end product remain unchanged. But depend on the situation, you might feel the some option more comfortable and best compared to the other one. Okay, let's say you have your own car, you don't want to go with the taxi. So that is your comfort zone. So otherwise, if the cities are very far away, going by train will be much better than your own car if you want to avoid the tiring, driving. So likewise, we are going to know how to get the project done. So what is the best option we have? So when depend on the procurement system, the parties involved in the contract, their roles and responsibility will be changed. Now let's say when you are driving your car, who's responsible for safety? You are responsible for your safety, right? Because you have to make sure you have the proper insurance for your car and yourself, and you have to carefully drive. Now let's talk about the taxi. Who's responsible for the safety when he's driving? The taxi driver, right? And he should have the insurance for his vehicle. So see, based on the option you are choosing, the roles and responsibility will be changed between the parties, and also cost will be different. Say going by own vehicle or taxi, which will be more costlier. Say 100-kilometer distant city, the taxi will be more obviously costlier, and accordingly, you are going to decide which procurement routes much better to do the project. So depend on the roles and responsibility changing between the procurement routes, every procurement route have their own structure. We will understand that. Okay, there's a management structure. So again, how to select the best procurement route depend on the client preference. Now let's say you don't want to have a long driving. You want to reach the destination very quicker. Which one you will go for it? By land or by air? By air, isn't it? So again, that preference are different. Someone want to enjoy the driving. Okay, they don't want to. Okay, they are not in a hurry to drive, and they want to go and enjoy the driving. They want to have the frequent stop, and they have to see the site. Which one more convenient? Your personal vehicle or train or metro? Own car much better, isn't it? So likewise, it even though the end product is remain change, but depend on the client preference, the way of achieving will be different. Okay, so the same way, we have the different methodologies in the procurement route, and each are having their own style. So there are a number of criteria we are going to see. Okay, how that criteria are going to influence the project procurement. Okay, but make sure the criteria might have number of criteria, not one criteria, but doesn't matter. You can satisfy all of them. Okay, sometime you must do a uh, compromise with the one criteria or others. Okay, so you have to balance them, or sometimes you have to give priority for some criteria compared to other one. Again, that's also depend on the client preference. Okay, and um, if you are able to choose the right procurement, right, it's going to make the client expectation. Okay, it's going to meet the client expectation, and everybody in the procurement, that means everybody in the contract will be happy. But if you choose the wrong procurement, let's say the client say I want to go to the next city very quicker, and you book him a train. What do you think? He will get disappointed, right? Because his requirement is time, whereas you put in a yes delay. Some clients say, no, I want to go for a very cheaper option. Then yes, you book the airplane. It's good. You're supposed to book the metro, isn't it? So again, you should understand what your client needs, and you have to deliver. So when come to the criteria, there are main three criteria: time, cost. What is time, cost, quality? Okay. So first, time. Do you have enough time to design and contract, or it is very fast track project? You should understand that. Then cost certainty. Some clients are more curious or very careful with the cost. Let's say somebody going to build a house by getting the bank loan. They don't have money. So what do you think? They should have the budget that is fixed budget or not? They should have the fixed budget, isn't it? So their cost certainty factor is very high. So you should understand that. And the quality, you can go for a very finest quality or good quality or average or low quality. When the qualities are increased, what will increase parallelly? Cost will increase. Definitely. So do you have enough money to, so budget is another factor. And the type of client, the mentality between the private sector and the public sectors or semi-government are different. So accordingly, this will impact. So risk. Sometimes there is a design risk, construction risk. Which party okay going to bear the risk? So accordingly, uh, your procurement route will be changed. So when come to the risk, some procurement will transfer the risk. Now let's say design and build procurement route, the design risk transferred to the contractor. Okay, sometime they, you have to accept the risk under the red book, traditional procurement route. Employer accept the design risk. So sometimes you have to accept the risk. Sometimes you can avoid the risk. Client don't want to involve, so he can give the design responsibility to the contractor. So again, or he don't want any problem with the design. Let's go for a third party. But now let's say some design, okay, some iconic design have the structural collapse, or sometimes it is risk of damaging the entire structure if you go for that design. Can we do that one? Is it better to do? Maybe it's a risky. So what do you do now? Let's avoid that risk. We don't want this design. Let's go for a different design. Okay, that is avoiding the risk. Okay, then okay. So let me finish this one. So there are three methodology we have, right? Transfer, accept, avoid. What else? Is there any other methodology to avoid handle the risk? Share the risk. Very good. Yeah, you can share the risk. So let's share the risk whichever connected to the project. Okay, so that's also good. Or there's a one more methodology we have. What is that? So we have transfer, acceptance, avoidance, share, and one more mitigate, reduce. Yes, reduce the risk. So these are the five methodology we have when come to the risk management. Okay, then design responsibility again. Who want to bear the design risk? Depend on that. Okay, the procurement will be decided. So that's better question. Who's best in design? So accordingly, it could be decided. And design development. We have to see when you are determining the procurement route whether you have the complete design or partial design. Depend on that. RIBA plan of work is there. Okay. So RIBA plan of works it also suggests if you are in a concept design which procurement is good, when you are in a detailed design which procurement route is good. Likewise, it gives some idea which procurement routes are much better depend on the design stage. So again, it's determine the procurement route. Okay, then specialist input. Can we bring the inexperienced contractor to do a oil and gas project? Say there's some repair work who never know health and safety practices in the oil and gas project. Anybody worked in the oil and gas project? Anyone? No. Do you know when you are entering to the site, what they do? If anybody works, when you are entering to the site, no, not like the construction site, especially oil and gas project site, what will happen? Okay, just for your information, okay, there will be a check security for you. We'll check thoroughly whether you are carrying any flammable okay items. You're not allowed to smoke in that area, right? You can't carry any material that can be flammable. So there will be a very strict safety. If one person mistake will kill 1,000 people there. So therefore, such project they will not entertain. I'm just talking about the safety wise. Okay, same way, inexperienced contractor will not be entertained in a specialist project. Let's say piling construction. There are adjacent building, very high rise building. Okay, can you give that work to the inexperienced contractor who doesn't know how to do the piling works? without impacting the neighbor building. So no, that's kind of thing. You have to go for a concern with the specialist in wood. So where you need the uh, all the concern to be fulfilled. BIM, it is not applicable nowadays in our Gulf region, but in UK this is one of the requirement. So still it is in concept. So not to bother in our Gulf region. But BIM also in the future will be leading one of the input that you need to consider when come to the procurement route. Project complexity. Now, when the project complex increase, then you have to go for a procurement that will accommodate the project complexity. And sometimes some projects scope of works cannot be defined when come to the initial stage. So client want to keep on changing the scope of work frequently. So you have to consider whether your procurement routes will support or not. Okay, so accordingly, you have to choose the right one. Sometimes the contract administration, say contract administration, if the client want to keep it, you can go for a traditional or design and build. Whereas you don't want any monitoring, then turnkey kind of project will work for that. So every procurement has their own criteria to meet. Now, this is a question you will get in the interview. What are the selection criteria for consideration to choose the suitable procurement route? Can you all answer? Everybody try to answer this question. Okay, so there is a factors that we have discussed, time, cost, all the things we discussed so far will be the uh, factors that will impact the procurement selection. Okay, so sometime the client say, I want to cover all these 15 in one procurement. Is that possible? All should be covered in the one. I think it's going to be hard. Say, let's say you have to have the high quality and less cost. Is it possible? High quality with less cost? No, right? Quality will determine the price. So you have to ask, if you want high quality, you want to have the high cost. Are you okay to go for a high cost? Say no, then you have to go for a low quality. Either you have to compromise with the cost or quality. Do you understand? If the client say high quality, he must uh, ready to pay higher amount. If he have the limited budget, then he can talk about the high quality. No. So again, he need to agree. Either he need to compromise with the cost. Okay, I will increase my cost, or he need to compromise with the quality. I will go for a less. So therefore, it's all about you have to prioritize carefully before you advising any procurement routes. Do you understand now? Okay, good. So these are the mind mapping for the all the procurement route that we are going to study. And at the last, again, we will see this slide and we will discuss as a brief. Okay, so we'll go from the traditional, then we'll study about the design and build, then the management and other type of procurement routes. Okay, so traditional method. How many of you know about this method? Okay, good. So let us understand what is a traditional. In the traditional, every procurement we have the structure, the management structure. So under the traditional, there will be an employer. This employer will hire engineer, say consultant. This consultant will do the feasibility study, design, and supervision. So once the consultant finish the design, he will go for a tender. You remember that tender will be started. So he will call for a tender and the tender will receive an evaluation and award will happen. So there will be a contractor. So the contractor organization, there is a supplier and subcontractor. Okay, so the green line, whatever you are seeing here is a contractual relationship. Is there any contractual relationship between the engineer and the contractor? No, there's no. But they have the communications. They will have the communication. Otherwise, they can't run the project. So this traditional method says sometime design, bid, build. Not a design and build. Okay, some people will get confused. Be careful with the wording. Design, bid, build. You understand that one? You do the design first, then go for a tender, then do the construction. It's meaningful, isn't it? Design, bid, build. So DBB. Is that clear? It has a meaning. So design and build and the design bid build. Is it same? Not same. Careful, okay? Listening is very important. Now, many of you, how many of you here are ICS APC candidate? Okay, when you are going for an interview, I will recommend very simple thing for you to improve your listening skill. Okay, better do a small test. There are so many platform, even the Udemy also available. Uh, Enter into a small program. Maybe one person can buy and share to everyone. Enter the kind of any training that IELTS listening practice is very best one. Do it and do a demo test. You can understand how to listen that. It will work for you. Sometimes the interview panel asking, can you explain about the design with build? And you are explaining about the design and build. What will happen? It's a level 3 questions or core subject. So what will happen if you, yeah, the result will be failure. So therefore to avoid, take my advice. Okay, if you have less ability to listen, then you do that test. It work for you. Let even the general interview, the people don't understand the question. So they will ask you the question. Instructions. You're going to go for design ready. Now tell me, employee hiring the design team, which is they are expert on the design. They are hiring the contractor or selecting the contractor who's expert in the construction. So once the design is done, only the bid is starting. So what is the advantage of this kind of traditional procurement route? Can you all say one by one? It is not faster. You have to wait until the design finish, then do a construction. So it take time. Define scope of work. Very good. So we can define the scope of work. So if you are defining the scope of work, what is advantage? Yeah, less variation. And we can go for a defined price, isn't it? Lump sum price you can go. And the contractor will price perfectly based on your design. Okay. What about quality? What about quality? The quality will be as expected or by the client. Okay, it won't be less quality. Client will go for his preferred level of quality. So good. Now tell me what is the bet here? Yeah, it takes time. It takes time because you have to do the design, then you have to wait for a tender and the construction begins. So if you want to do fast track, this is not the route. Okay, so let us understand. Okay, what is the advantage and disadvantage? So now advantage is you can bring the competitive tender between contractor because you done with the design. Okay, since you are done with the design, the commitment of the parties are very clear. What contractor must do and what employer must pay. So that commitments are very clear. We have the program certainty. That means if you define the scope of work, you can define the project duration. If you don't define the scope of work, can you say how long it will take to finish the project? No. Therefore, there's a program certainty. Since you define the scope of work, there's a cost certainty. Okay. So remember, it could be go for a lump sum or it can go for a GMB as well. Lump sum and the GMB both are same. No. Right. Okay. GMB under what type of contract? It is variant of cost reimbursement contract. Very good. So you can give a priced BOQ, right? That could be priced well, and that rate could be used for any variation happening. Maybe minor variation will happen. Okay, so no need to add for a risk premium for a scope of work, and it is very easy to do a tender analysis. If you have a scope of work defined, then you can determine whether you are paying the right price for the particular works or not. So if you are having the all the bidder qualified, then the responsive bid which is less value is a economical bid for you. So sometime you can use the provisional sum if some part of the design is not complete, but be aware it has a disadvantage. If you are having the provisional design or provisional sum amount within the BO, maybe that will change once the scope of work is fully defined. That will change the project cost and the time. Okay, then familiarity. So this traditional method well known in the Gulf region, so everybody know how it goes. So you don't need to go and tell what is your roles and responsibility. And you can use the minor changes for this kind of traditional method. What about the major changes? No, you can't implement the major changes. That will be punish you. Okay. Now the thing is the client control the design so he can have his quality. And this client design team act as a contract administrator to manage the contractor. And the disadvantages. So disadvantages first, right? It needs a lot of time because you need to finish the design, then you have to go for a tender, then the project commence. So it takes a lot of time. Sometimes you are going for a professional somewhere the design is not fully achievable. This is going to alter the project deliverable, like time and cost. So that is going to be a problem. Then major changes will be a trouble because you are defining the scope of work, which define the time for construction. But if you are changing the scope of work, right, the contractor maybe challenge the prices and he can hike the price and also take the benefit of the extension of time. So that's not less favorable. That is less favorable when come to the design changes. And the another factor is design done by whom under this traditional employer. Ultimately, the employer representative engineer. So let's say it's engineer done. So ultimately, engineer is the responsible. But when come to the contract, there's a contract between the employer and the contractor. So design responsible by contract employer. Your red book say no, designed by the employer. Now there is a construction defects. Let's say there's two type of defect. No, did you aware about that? Patent defect and latent defect. Now there's a construction is handed over, and you see the major cracks in the building. Okay, major cracks in the building, which is life threatening to the occupants. Now the designer will say, no, my design is perfect. There are something problem with the construction. Contractor will say, no, I did the construction based on your design only. So there's a problem with the design. So they will blame each other. So is there any single point responsibility here? Who can bear the responsibility for design and the construction? No, that is missing here. Okay. Okay. So uh, therefore, you have to understand this. You split the design to one team and the construction to another team. What about the communication? Do you think the contractor can understand whatever the designer thinking? It's hard. So communication gaps will be there. Okay. So sometimes the designer do over design or over engineering. So it increase the cost of the construction. Okay. If the contractor involved in the design, that bring the buildable design. Sometimes some consultant design not able to build. So it is going to go for a variation process. Okay. So again, if you go for a variation, what will happen? It's going to change the project time and the cost. Yes. And the client responsibility with the design and the design team performance. So any failure with the design team, client must take care about that. Okay. So therefore, even though we have the lump sum contract, but the defined price for the design scope for any kind of project, okay, it's very rarely achievable. Maybe you have the minor variation always happening, so it can change the project cost. Okay. So again, when the provisional sums are defined in the later part of the project, then again the project cost will be changed. So the traditional method is okay, uh, very clear. You do the design and you do the construction second, and the design done by the employee team and the construction by contractor team. Okay. Under the traditional method, there are some theory you will have it. So to carefully understand this theory, okay. So you will have some clarity. Now you know about the tendering, isn't it? Have you remember all the tendering methods? Yes or no? How many types of tendering we have? How many types of tendering we have? Number three, two, four. Okay, you people have to go and study again. Okay. After you learn, don't say the wrong answer. So study well. So many of you don't study. You just attending the class and just ignoring. Don't do that one. If you want to have the career growth, you have to study this program very well. Okay, because all of you are intention to grow your career. So we have the five methodology. Okay, so let us understand traditional method. We have the design bit built. Okay, so there is a theory, say sequential method. If you are using single stage selective tender based on the drawing and specification. Now, if you remember the theory carefully, what is single stage tendering? Is a type of tendering method? Yes or no? Yes. What is based on drawing and specification? Can someone say what is this exactly? Based on drawing and specification. What is that? Not scope. It is a variant of complete that. It's a variant of lump sum contract. Very good. Okay. So if you are using the single stage tendering based on the drawing and specification, what is missing here? What is missing here? There's a one contract document missing here. What is that? BOQ. Yes. It's called sequential method. Okay. Some theory says like this. And another theory say accelerated method. Using the two-stage tender, okay, or negotiated tender. Now forget about the negotiated tender. Using the two-stage tender based on lump sum contract, measure and value contract, cost reimbursement contract. Be careful, okay? Now tell me, is there any mistake here you found? Is there any problem that we have here? If you get anything in your mind, tell me. This is a procurement route under the traditional method, say accelerated method, using the two-stage tender with the any of the contract type. What is the mistake here? I'm just giving you time to think. Nobody got the idea still. Yes, now Chamara got the right answer. Yes. Two stage is the one procurement method. So can we bring the two stage under the traditional? You got the idea now what I am saying here? Everybody, you understood or not? Okay. So you have to go again and study the tendering. Okay. So when we learn about the type of tendering, we learn the two-stage tendering is a special one. It is itself a one procurement route. So can we join with the traditional procurement route that one? No, isn't it? So that's not correct. Okay, it is a separate. So there are so many authors don't understand that methodology, and they have given this information. So some of the old book you will see this one. Okay, very old book you will see this reference. There's a sequential method, accelerated method using the two-stage tender, using the negotiated tender. Based on that, maybe that theory may be right, but not using the two-stage tender. So sometime what will happen if you go for RICS interview? Be careful. Not everybody coming to the interview is very perfect enough with the all the QS things. So if they ask this kind of thing, what do you do? Can you answer this question? Question number one. What is your answer? Yes, we can use the measure and value contract even though design is complete. Nowadays in Saudi, even though the design is complete, they will go for a measurement value contract. Why they want to have the audit? They want to make sure how much they are paying for what purpose. So they don't rely on the lump sum. Now, question number two, carefully. In above circumstance, how you would call that procurement method? What is that? What procurement methodology is? Traditional, very good. Third one, as per the question number one, if you are using the single stage tendering to select the contractor, how you would call that procurement method? Based on the theory, right? It is a traditional, but you have to say it sequentially because some people are not updated. So you have to specify them also. So be careful when you are going for an interview. Now, when you are using the two-stage tender or negotiated tender, now you know this question had a problem. But some assessor will accept you have to say accelerated method. So be mindful when they're asking these questions, they're really not updated. So do you understand what I'm trying to say here? If the fourth question asked by the any assessor, be careful. Don't say the right answer. They will be get confused because be careful. Not all the RICS members outside, okay, are up to the date. Okay, they have updated all the thing. Once they finish the MRICS, they never study. Sometime it's a practical due to the commitments. So be careful. The interview will be challenge for you. Sometime you will face the challenge, even though you are right. The assessor not up to the mark, they can fail you also. So therefore, I just put this information to make you aware, okay, and you have to ready to face these challenges. So now when come to the traditional method, what is the suitability of the traditional method? Okay, the traditional method is suitable when you need the cost certainty or the project is very complex. Complex mean, let's say you have a simple apartment building. Is a complex project? Simple apartment building. Is that complex? No, it's not complex because only the simple apartment not going to make any complicated process. Now let's say one building which is apartment building, but ground floor is for a shopping complex. Okay, first second floor for a office spaces. Okay, like uh, third, fourth floor for different purposes. Now, and the fifth above is going to be a apartment. Now, tell me, is it complex or simple building? Yeah, it is going to be a complex because there are, you know, every construction needs different expertism. So, building the shopping complex and building the office space or building the residential are three different, okay, three different areas. So you need experts. So those kind of complex. Let's say five-star hotel. Is it a simple project? Five-star hotel. Yeah, it is a complex because you have the residential unit, you have the so many entertainment facilities, swimming pool, landscaping area, play area, right? So many recreation areas. So this is not a um, simple project. This is a complex project. So traditional method is very good if you are having the complex project. You can finalize the design, then you can go for a implementation, right? Or another benefit, okay, you don't want to have the major changes during the post construction. You want to finish all the design in principle, then go for this, right? And you want the time for completion. You want to make sure the time for condition, when you are going to get the project deliverable, then it's better procurement route. You don't want to start the project very fast track. Okay, then yes, this is also suitable. But let's say you want to start the project in a fast track. Can you go for a traditional procurement route where the time is urgent? Okay, so now you got the idea what is a traditional and how it works. So before I go for a small homework, do you have any question on this traditional procurement route, or is everything is clear? Yes. So if you study carefully our classes during the lectures, it's more than enough for you to face the RICS interview. You don't need to study any further material. Okay. So that's easy. You don't need to study any further material, but I will give you some reference material. But our notes are well updated, and you don't need too much go for a different references, because sometimes some books are old and it can mislead you. Okay. So we have the small homework. What is assignment? Don't think it's a school assignment, because you have to use the word, okay, assignment and the novation. You should do that one. Okay, if you do, then only you will understand that what we are going to discuss the next procurement route. You should know the difference between the assignment and the novation. So can you all do this homework? Okay, you should do. Okay, do a small exercise. It is very simple. If you search, you will find it.
I have
Okay, so
understanding on
now
this. Oh, okay, okay.
go ahead.
I don't know whether it's correct or not. The assignments, in the sense, something was assigned for some sort of person, and the novation, in the sense that certain assignment which given to him, that person is the one who like giving to another person. I mean, he's novating someone instead of him. So I don't know whether it's
Yeah,
correct or not.
yes.
That's my understanding.
Yes, somehow you are right, but have a proper definition for this, okay? Proper understanding. Yes, you do that. So now let's go to the next procurement one, design and build procurement rule. Design and build. Okay, shall we continue for another? Yeah, we have time, right? We'll continue today for this, and we will stop once we finish with the design and build. Okay, so let's continue. Design and build procurement route. You have to understand how it is works. There is an employer, like a procurement route, what we discuss under the traditional. He will hire the consultant, that is employer advisor. So that is there, and there is a design and build contractor, and there is a possible innovation. Now we have to understand the contractor had a architect, that means design team and the construction team. So under the design and build, how this procurement is work and how this procurement is move. Okay, so we'll have the small explanation. I just put the answer, but you have to study, okay, about the innovation. Now let us understand what's happening here. Employer will hire a employer designer, okay, or advisor. What these people will do, they will listen the employer perspective or requirement. Let's say employer want the, I will just keep the space, okay. I just keep the space. So okay, now employer want the a villa, let's say 3 bedroom villa, single story. Okay, so what the employer advisor do? He will note down all the employer requirement. 3 bedroom villa. He will define what color paint, what color finishes, some key features, whatever he want. He will define all of them in his write up. That is called identifying the employer requirement. So that's keyword. You should understand employer requirement. ER. Okay. Employer requirements. So once the employer requirements are defined, you will call for a bidding process. Now, under the bidding process, what will happen? The contractor will go through with the employer requirement and come back with their own design. Okay, so they will come back with the design. Let's say you ask for a 3 bedroom villa, right? So one design will be like a square shape. Okay, do you understand? Everybody will come with their own shape because you define the requirement, not the design. So they can come up with the design, whatever they want. So the 3 bedroom may be like this, right? Or maybe they can have a different design, right? Or different design. So they can have their own, okay, unique design. So now do you understand all the contractor designs are different? Is it same for each other? No. What about the cost and time for each and every contractor? Is it same? Why it is not same? Because design is different, no? What about tender evaluation? It is apple to apple comparison? No, it is not. What about selecting the tender evaluation? That means tender evaluation, selecting the right bidder. Is it easy task for a consultant? No. What about preparing the design? Normally, be careful when come to the design and build contract. Okay, the contractor will come with the models. You know the models, samples, buildings. Have you seen the models before? Nowadays, it's very famous with the developers. They will have the models. They can show you. Do you think developing a models is very easy task? No, it is not easy task. It cost lots of money to the contractor also. So if any contractor losing the project, it's not a big small loss for them. It's a considerable amount they will lose. Okay, so not like a um, traditional. There's a less number of bidders in this design and build procurement route because of the effort they want to put. If they are very serious, only they will come. Otherwise, they will not come. Okay. So do you understand a little bit about this process? Let's go in detail and see. So initially, the employer hiring the contractor, sorry, designer or employer advisor to develop the employer requirement. Are they doing any design here? They will do concept design. Okay, very layout sometime, not detailed design, and the design developed by the contractor. So who's responsible for any design failure?
Contractor.
Yes, contractor responsible for design failure. Okay, so under this process, what will happen? Contractor is responsible for design and construction. And in previously, in the traditional, employer responsible for design and the contractor responsible for construction. But under the design and build, who's responsible? Only the contractor. They have a single point responsibility. Now let's talk about the previous story. Major cracks in the building now. Who's responsible now? Can we talk or can we argue? Contractor will say engineer or engineer will say contractor. Now, is that workable? Is that the question now? There's no question, right? Right. Because it's only one person doing all. So, single point responsibility placed on the contractor. So, the contractor makes sure the time, cost, quality, everything. So, but employer agreement must be very clear, isn't it? Yes or no? Employer agreement must be very clear. If you don't, let's say you ask for a how many bedroom? You ask for how many bedroom in our question? Three, right? Did you talk about the how many? Let's say, did you talk about the kitchen size, or did you talk about the bedroom size? Minimum requirement. If you have something concern, right, or number of restroom, if you don't have such a number or concern or sizes in your requirement or finishes type, if you don't mention any finishes type, you will go for a lowest quality, right? You can go for a cement rendering. Now, if you want a granite, what you should do? You have to mention in your employer requirement. So, employer requirement must be very clear enough. Okay. If the employer requirement is very poor and not giving what is the employer really needed, what will be happen with the project deliverable? Is the employer will be happy? Employer thinking like he's going to get the palace, but he got some small cottage, isn't it? So that should be, the employer requirement must be done very carefully. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. And this process initiated by hiring the employer consultant that consists of the architect, designer, engineers, and they prepare the requirement. So in generally, what will happen if you study the NRM1? Okay, it has some more details. So there will be project manager, architect, quantity surveyors, engineers. Okay, they will go and meet the employer and they will listen him and they will note down all the requirement. Then they will do a feasibility study. Then they will come and tell, okay, their report is ready. Then that employer requirement only going to go for a bidding process. So in generally in the tender, which is go for a design and build, do we have the detailed design? No, we don't have the detailed design. Is it practicable? We can give a BOQ to the contractor because every contractor, yes, you can give the BOQ. That is not a real BOQ because you don't have a scope of work defined. So the BOQ cannot be accurate. So whatever the quantity is appearing in the BOQ is the accurate quantity during the tender time. It is not. It is an approximate quantity only. But who's responsible for the cost? Yes, contractor is responsible for the cost. So how he is pricing, he is putting his risk premium. He also gets okay, what are the requirements? Now let's say, can you tell to the client you ask only three bedroom in this building, only three bedroom, no kitchen, no restroom, nothing, no hall. Will the client accept that one? It is deemed to be included, isn't it? At least you have to have the small provision, even the client say it or not. Do you understand? Most of the design and build procurement, I have heard there's a fighting will go with the fire or health and safety concern. Sometimes the authority will say you should have the firefighting system inside the building, whereas the contractor never priced or consider that one his design and build procurement. But according to authority requirement, it's part of the employer requirement you should consider. So it's a big claims. So you have to very carefully price when you are going for a design and build procurement if you are working for a contractor. Okay, in general, design and build contractor will go under what type of contract? Anyone have any idea? Not a procurement condition of contract. I'm asking about type of contract for a design and build lump sum. Yes. Okay, so that's you have to very carefully do. So suitable contractor prepare his proposal and he give his design models and the time how much he needed to do the work and the cost how much he is demanding to complete the work. So the client will see all the bidder's proposal and select the suitable one who he likes. So once done, right, the contractor will get the project award and he will develop his proposal to a detailed design and complete the work. So what will happen while he is doing developing the design? Sometime he can speed up the work like a preliminary works, enabling work at site, like a constructing the site officers, access road, like that. While the one team developing the design, the other team will do the construction. So tell me the time for design and the construction is where it is higher in the traditional or design and build, where you will spend more time in the traditional. Okay, design and build, the time overlapping between the design and the construction. So therefore, the total time for a design and construction less compared to the traditional. So in order to manage the contractor performance, the client maybe keep the same design team or the employer advisor initially who was there in the pre-contract, or they can hire independently. Or sometime what can done, okay, uh, while he is appointing the different project management consultant, okay, while he is appointing the project management consultant, he can do one more thing. The people who prepare the employer requirement, they have the good idea about the uh, employer mindset, isn't it? They have a good idea about the employer mindset, what the employer really want, what he really like. So that's what they drafted the employer requirement. So what they will do, that design team, okay, by innovation, okay, they can transfer to the contractor. So they will continuously develop the design further to meet the employer expectation. Otherwise, they will be sometime contractor don't like it, then they will okay stay with the client and supervise the contractor work. Now the question, uh, now there's a question. Designer will same like a two-state tender. Okay, we will answer that question after this. Okay, ask me after this. So now the question is, now why do you think the contractor will like to have the employee team under his company? He like it or not? What do you think? Okay, if you say like okay, or if you don't like, tell me the reason for what you saying. Now employer want, okay, Mr. Contractor, take my consultant team that really who prepare the employer design, so you can do a better design. So they can guide you. Do you think contractor like to hire them under their company or not? Okay, you might not understand my question. Okay, now carefully listen. Initially, this design team have the good reputation with the employer, right? So when the contractor hire them, what they will do? They will be act as a secret agent to the employer and try to do maximum benefit to him. And contractor cannot disclose his financial things to these people. They will disclose to the employer because they connected to the employer. And ultimately, let's say contractor, if we had a own design team, he will go as much as lowest quality or minimum required quality to meet the employer requirement. That's all. But this employer design team will do. They will go for a highest one. So they are biased to the employer. So now my question I will repeat you. Do you think the contractor like to hire this design team under their company? No. Okay. So sometimes client will do, Mr. Contractor, there's an ovation. You have to take them. This is our agreement. Then the contractor no room left for him to decide. Otherwise, contractor don't like to take them because it is a client team better to be with the client. Okay, so that is the reason. So now you got my idea. So now advantage. Tell me what is the advantage of the design and build? Yes, faster. Very good. Okay. Single point responsibility. Good. What else? Less change. Yes, but if you change the employer requirement, then it is a variation. Otherwise, no change. Okay. So cost certainty. Very good. Time certainty. Yeah, single point responsibility. You told very good. And the client need to deal with the only one person who's as a act as a designer and the consultant. Sorry, contractor and the designer. And the cost certainty is there. The program certainty is there. And the compared to the traditional method, the design done by one team and the construction done by different team. Both are different business sector. The communication between them is lesser compared to the communication between the contractor design team and the construction team. So more efficient. Okay. And the delivery, the fastest delivery will be there because overlapping the design and the construction. So if you want to have the project very fast track, you can go for this. And when the contractor doing the design, okay, you are getting the buildable design, so it's unnecessarily avoiding some variations. And innovation of the design, so when the innovation happen, then client team will stay with the contractor to give best to the client, so that's benefit to the contractor because they know what employer think, they familiar with the employer requirement, so they can continue with the contractor where they stop from the employer, so easy. But client even like it, contractor maybe don't like them. Okay. So but compared to the traditional procurement route, do you need to pay more money to the consultant here under the design and build? No, because there's no design, okay, done by the consultant, so that design fees also cost. So compared to the traditional, the design and build procurements are a little cost saving one. And regarding the tender documentation, you are not preparing the detailed design or detailed VOQ. That means the tender pre-contract period is shortened for the employer. What about contractor? Under the traditional, he will take more time, or design and build contractor take more time. Where he need more time to prepare the tender return. A design and build because more he need to prepare the models, he need to prepare the BOQ considering all the risks, so it's hard for him. But anyhow, overall duration is lesser compared to the traditional. So capable of conversion to guaranteed maximum price. Yes. Now tell me disadvantages. Anyone? there will be a competition. Okay, so but the thing is, your employer requirement must be perfect. If you are having the variation, let's say if your employer requirements are keep changing, that is treated as a variation. So only in the design and build, not a quantity change, consider as a variation. Let's say contractor can come and say, in your tender BOQ, we have the 10 quantity, now we have 100 quantity, give me 90 extra. Is it possible? Do you think the quantity variants are treated as a variation under the design and build? No. Why? Contractor is the one responsible for his price. So employer will come and say, no, that is indicative quantity. You supposed to develop your design. That design which we given initially is a concept design. So you supposed to develop your design. That design only you have to quantify. So that quantity different, not going to be treated as a variation. So what is treated as a variation? Any changes to the employer requirement. If that happen, let's say employer requirement initially how many bedroom? 3 bedroom. Now he's come and asked 4 bedroom. So that will be a big impact. So it's going to be very expensive and it has the time and cost impact. It is not flexible. Once you agree the employer requirement, no more change. So if the employer want to change something, again, it's going to be hard for him. If the contractor organization is small, let's say in the traditional, consultant is design expert, contractor is construction expert. Do you think one company can do both as an expert manner? Is it possible to find someone can do both design and the construction like a very expert level? It's hard, isn't it? So, what do you think about the quality compared to the traditional and the designable? Where we have the more quality in the traditional, definitely, because design controlled by the employer. Here, less quality. Okay, less aesthetically appearance. So, if you want very nice building like a five-star hotel, can you go with the design and build where you want the aesthetically appearance project? No, you can't go. Be careful. Okay, you can go for a simple apartment which is like a box type. That's fine. Not a very luxurious one or where you want a very aesthetical appearance. So the initial price, okay, will be higher because it's include a risk premium by the contractor. Okay, and longer tender evaluation is needed. Why? Because every contractor submit their different proposal. The employer team must evaluate one by one carefully. It's very hard to determine who is the right one. So also, tendering cost for the contractor also very high compared to the traditional. You know the reason, right? Like a models and other things. Okay. So the disadvantage keep continue. Employer requirement must be very clear. If you have any ambiguities, then it's treated as a variation. Then it is going to impact the cost and time. Quality. If you want quality, you have to carefully tell what you are expecting. Okay. The client need to appoint the supervision team, otherwise he don't know what is going on with the project. So again, that is adding a cost. And client has less control during the post contract when come to the design and construction. He can just watch what is happening. Client employer will instruct only the contractor what is agreed in the employer agreement. That's all. So design quality, okay, will be less compared to the traditional. So many disadvantage, right? Okay, there will be some complex process will happen when come to the novation. Say, let's say the novation happen. Initially, the novation team, the novated design team work under the employer. Then they move to the contractor. Who's responsible for any design, fault by the that novated design team? There are so many court cases, but that is complicated. Okay, so design and build is suitable. When, okay, client don't want to involve with the design and construction, he is inexperienced, and he need a cost certainty and the time certainty, and he need to finish the project in a fast track, and it is a simple building, not a complex building. Okay, where the aesthetical appearance not important, then he can go. Okay, so I will answer all of the question you are raising. Just give me time. Now you answer this question. While design is carrying out by the design and build contractor, design and consultant who worked under the employer identified and informed the client that the design and build contractor not performing well. So how do you make it better? What is the strategy we have? Not performance bond. Performance bond to make sure that what contractor agree that he will be delivered. Okay. And you are not entering the contract without performance bond, isn't it? Uh, Third party review, somehow you are okay, good. PI insurance, no, it is not the one. Yes, but you can do, a novation, isn't it? But contractor may be resist to novate. But if you are novating your design team under the contractor, then it automatically will rectify. Otherwise, you have to appoint a special team to monitor, or the existing team keep on, evaluate the contractor design development to give their feedback. So that's the way. Okay, so you had a questions. Before we move to the next level, we will understand those question. Now, two-stage tender and the design and build procurement. Is it same? Definitely you are going to say no, because it's we studied under the tender and the procurement. But what is the difference? Tell me if you are really understand. What is the difference you see under the two stage and the design and build? Anyone? I'm just waiting for the reason why it is not same. Same contractor may not carry out the construction in the two stage. Very good answer is scope not defined in the two stage. Even in the design and build also, scope is initially not. Uh, yes, yes, you are right. Yes, not fully defined. Yes, there's no employer agreement. Yes, you are right. That is good. There's a change of novation in the design build. Yes, there's no novation story in the two stage, right? Two stage, there's a pre-contract service agreement only, not novation. So who's responsible for design under the two stage? No, design responsible under two stage. Who? Employer. If you say contractor, you have to study very well. Okay, you have to study. Now, under the design and build, who's responsible for the design? Contractor. Now, when the contractor enter into the first stage, under the two stage, do they know any construction time and the cost? Did they agree anything? When come to the design and build, when they enter into the agreement, did they agree the time and cost? Yes. So do you understand the difference between the two stage and the design and build? Is it same? It is not same. Okay, these are the reason. Now, can some people, okay, some people, what they think, they can use the two stage tender to do a design and build procurement rule. Is that correct theory? They are using the two stage to do a design and build. Is it correct? Is that happening in the two stage? No. Okay. So if you are very sensible and if you understand very carefully whatever I have, okay, teach you, that only make you sense. Okay. So this is both are different. Two stage, yeah, design and build design goes parallelly, whereas in the yeah, but somehow if you talk about two stage, while the pre-contract service agreement, okay, they do the design parallelly, they do the prelims works also. So that is they are almost, but not the same mechanism. When the second stage failed, you can go for a traditional procurement under the two stage with the new contractor, whereas in the two stage, okay, can bring the new contractor in the second stage, but in this design and build, no, you have to terminate and you have to bring the new contractor. Okay. Okay. Can you have separate vendors awarded one to carry out the design but fail to awarded the construction phase? No, it's not like that. That is applicable under the two stage only, not the design and build. Okay. But yes, in the two stage, you have to go and learn again. Yeah, if the first contractor failed, then second contractor will come and do the construction. Okay. So what type of tender will be suitable to do a design and build procurement route? Tell me. Open tender possible? What do you think? Open to anyone, any contractor, isn't it? Is that workable under the design and build? The contractor must have the buildable knowledge, isn't it? So that's wrong. So single stage selective tender, yes, and the negotiated tender also fine, but not a two stage. Okay, not a two stage. So I answer that question to. Okay, is there any other question I missed? Can you repost it? For a complex structure building, which type of contract can go? You are talking about type of contract. Actually, you're asking the type of procurement, isn't it? Complex, we can go traditional, but not the design and build. Okay, complex, we can go for a traditional, not a design and build. But we will continue to learn something about the design and build. There is a possibility for to accommodate complex project. Okay.
Hello,
Any other questions?
can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Currently, I'm working on design and build project. Okay, but the design consultant is appointed by the contractor because we are not the specialists for the design and build. So we are hiring the third party. They are doing design, and we are responsible for construction. Is it as a contractually? Can you explain this kind of methodology?
Yeah, sometime if the contractor entering to the design and build procurement route where he doesn't have the design team, they can go for a third party consultant, because when you are entering with the design and build procurement route, one of the insurance will be added. Do you know what kind of insurance that extra you needed if you want to perform the design? PI insurance. Okay. So PI insurance cannot be obtained by the contractor sometime. So what will happen? He will enter into agreement with the designer, and the design consultant will bring the PI insurance. That insurance the contractor will submit to the employer. Okay, so this is how these go. You understood?
Yes, yes. Okay, sir, I understood.
Okay. For multi-story luxury apartment, if you talk about luxury apartment where you are looking for a aesthetical appearance, then design and build not the right one. Okay. Simple apartment, yes, design and build is fine. But luxury, if you want aesthetically appearance things, high quality things, then you don't go for a design and build. Third party consultant could be appointed by both party. Let's say initially, if the employer hiring the design team or consultant team to prepare the employer requirement, that could be a third party consultant. Or to supervise the contractor during the post contract, he can hire the third party consultant. Or if the contractor doesn't have the design team to do a design development, he can go for a third party consultant. So that's fine. Both party can do that one. Okay. So do you understand the answer? Okay. Ask me if you don't have the more clarity on this. Most projects in GCC are on fast track. So mostly design and build procurement routes are now implemented. Yes, but not for all the project. Okay. Regarding the EPC and turnkey, we will study in upcoming lecture. So leave it for now. If you understand whatever, we will cover all the type of procurement route. No worries, nothing will miss. But you have to understand one by one very carefully. Okay. So my question is, are you clear with the design and build right now, or still you have any questions? Confirm me. Clear. Okay. Okay. In upcoming lecture, we will see. Okay, we will see develop and construct. This is another variant of the design and build. So we will continue from here, from the develop and construct from the next class. Okay, so today I think enough for you. So study well. I think many of you did a small mistake during the today lecture, that when I am asking about the tendering, uh, what is your intention to have a growth in your profession, right? Yes or no? So don't take it as a academic study. This is all about the professional study, and you will forget if you are not practicing well. So at least you practice very well. Whatever you're studying, you have to have the short notes. You have to study everything because it's all connected with each other. Then definitely this will change your career. That is our objective. Okay, because throughout my training, I have seen so many people, okay, double their salary, triple their salary after this program. You don't need to wait until you get MRICS, but you have to uh, utilize this program in an efficient way. Say, I ask how many type of tender. Many of you say two, three, four. This is not a right answer. After learning this all, okay. So better, please all study very well because it will change your professional life. Unless otherwise you are very lazy to study, don't do that one because that is not your intention. Okay. Now many of you are here APC candidate, isn't it? Okay. If not, say we are starting the fresh RICS batch from coming Monday. If you are APC, then you are planning to start the RICS. Better start because that class we are going to start with the introduction to study how to study for RICS. From there we are move on. So better if you are under the AQS, you join that. Otherwise, let's say if you are overloaded with the some other commitment, then better you join after you finish your program. But it save your time, like a traditional procurement route, right? Design you are doing, then once the design complete, you go for a construction. That takes a lot of time. Like a design and build, you just want to do both together, like a RICS and AQS, still fine. You save the time. So time is everything. But it's up to you how you want. As a you are the decision maker of your life. Okay, so shall we continue in the next class? Okay, so good
One
night to
last
everyone.
question. Can I ask one last question?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
If the contractor is not experienced in the I mean design and they are hiring the third party, now who is the responsible for the design? The third party consultant or the contractor?
Okay, now when go to the design and build, okay, now see the structure here. So who's having the contractual relationship between the employer and the contractor? Contractor, right? So contractor has the
Yes.
contractor is the one having the design team. So does the contractor has any contractual? Does the employer have any contractual relationship with the design team?
No,
No. So who's having the responsible?
contractor.
Contractor. So what will happen? This person, any design collapse came. This person is responsible for this person, and he is responsible for him. You understood?
Okay.
Good. So see you all with the next lecture.
Thank you. Thank you so much.